Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on July 7th, 2021. 7/7/2021. I've got a return guest. He hasn't been here for a long time, but before we start hating each other again, okay, I'll just mention I've always found him to be one of the most interesting guests. He's got a lot of creative ideas. He's the only recruiter I've ever met on this show who's actually out of the box. Everybody likes to say they're out of the box. This guy, wherever he is on the recording, this guy is out of the box. And unless he's changed his practice, which I'm eager to hear about, his name is Stephen Nehez. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And just I might as well introduce before we get going, Ivan Gulenko. Okay, he's an IT recruiter. He's become a regular, calling in from Switzerland. He's also a favorite of mine in terms of his postings and his tweets. You might want to follow him. And he's created an ATS that he calls Klang, KLANG.io. Okay, see, I've always told people if they want
SO.
SO. Duh. Okay, sorry. Okay, if they want a free ad, all they have to do is come here and I'll introduce them. So, Klang.so. Okay, Stephen Nehez says he's actually got a good elevator pitch. I ask people to introduce themselves and they're always terrible at it. Let's see how he does. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. So I started as an engineer in the automotive industry back in 1990 and was in engineering and all the way until 2004 when I transitioned my career to recruiting.
Doesn't transition mean something else now?
Pretty much, yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
had a
Keep going.
early
Keep going.
midlife crisis. Interestingly enough, I went to three different universities, freshman, sophomore of my bachelor's, and then junior, senior at another university, and then I went to another university for the master's. And I went back to those universities, to their placement offices, and I said, hey, look, I'm not satisfied with where my career headed here, so you guys owe me now. And they tested me, and I ended up getting into recruiting. So I've been recruiting since 2004 in the automotive industry. Took a brief hiatus into environmental back in 2009 and 10, but went back into the automotive industry.
Hey, you know what? Just let me say, is that an elevator pitch or is that a speech? Okay, because this is what I had for you. I'll just tell you.
60 seconds, wasn't it?
Hold on. Today's guest, okay, his name is Stephen Nehez. He's an automotive engineer who places automotive engineers. Okay, doesn't that really say it all? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested in your background, but I don't know. I mean, there you are. So
I didn't develop an operating system that's used in 2 out of every 3 computers in the world. So, and I'm not out yacht shopping, so I don't know if my out of the box ideas are really all that hot.
Okay, we'll get to your ideas. Okay, but so you want to make a rant, it sounds like, about work from home. So I don't know if that's going to be as good as your elevator pitch, but I'll let you go with it. I'll let you go, and I'll interrupt when I feel it's necessary. Okay, because this guy has done webinars that I attended. I found them very interesting. Okay, I'm giving him I'm building him up too much.
Oh yeah.
Because the only place to go is down, right? Go ahead, shoot. Work from home. What's your story?
So, obviously, I'm sitting here with all 47 other people, recruiters, and we survived the plague. Okay, it happened. We went from 97 active accounts at the end of 2019 down to 6 in a matter of 2 months last year. And I had to determine, is this the end of the road or what's happening? A lot of reflection time. We worked on positions one by one. Many of the recruiters that are probably listening here or watching, that's how they operate. And there's recruiters operate in many different modes. But it was a lot of reflective time in our industry, which is highly technical. They develop These are engineers that
Yeah,
develop
what's your
pieces.
point? Okay, wasn't this about work from home? Let me guide you a
Yeah,
bit.
they all
Okay,
got during Corona. They got all pulled back into their houses because the government shut down offices and said that the
okay,
office
yeah,
environment wasn't
yeah,
safe. So
okay.
everybody
He's in
now you take.
Detroit. He's in Detroit, by the way,
I am in
everybody.
Detroit.
Okay.
96 accounts means 96 open jobs down to 5, or
We had 96 active accounts at the end of 2019.
Clients. He means clients, Ivan, right?
Yeah,
Active
clients. That's right. Yeah. So some of them didn't have an actual position in opening that moment.
How many
in
job
time.
orders did you have? He's
Oh,
asking a
we
good
always
question.
we were always hovering right between 80 and 100.
At one time?
Oh yeah.
Wow. And how many people in the office?
Well, back then, 4 or 5. Wait a minute.
That's
No,
all.
I never count myself.
Count yourself. Count yourself. 5 plus you.
5,
Say
6,
5.
7, something.
Say
And
5.
we
So you had
floating
80
around.
job orders. Let's see, 80 job orders and 5 recruiters. And overnight, you went down to, what was it, 6? How many job orders?
6 companies.
No, how many jobs?
Well, one of those companies gave us something like 20 positions.
Okay, so you still weren't doing too bad, right?
We had to do we had to make
Yeah, I know
appropriate
you had a
arrangements.
special webinar. You had a webinar that was secret, okay, about
Right. That's
how
right.
to deal with it. And I was impressed by that. I believed you did the right
Oh
thing.
yeah, you
Okay.
joined on that, didn't you?
Yes. Well, I followed all your
I practice what I
webinars.
preach. Okay.
Okay. So now you want to talk. So work from home. All the people in the offices, they went to work from home. All the engineers who used to have to come into the office. So now I think your point is that they like working from home and they're not going to want to come back. And
Oh
so
yeah,
the
they're so
companies are
comfortable.
stupid and they're going to resist and say, you come back in September. Okay.
I I mean, my one of my favorite movies is Wall-E. We've all seen it, right?
No,
Wall-E, the little robot, and then they have a future. It's in the future, and all of humanity goes to a big spaceship resort where everybody just sits in their chair. They never move. The food is brought to them. Their entertainment's right in front of them. They don't have to move, right? And that's what this has kind of transitioned into. So yeah, everybody got their COVID doggies last year, their big 80, 100-pound doggies, and now they're going to have to be. Now they're going to get called back into the office to the R&D operations, like in our industry would be an R&D operation, anywhere from 10 engineers up to a couple thousand, and these people don't want to come back. Period. They don't want to be on the road for an hour and a half a day sitting in their car.
right. So they're going to quit their jobs. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, God. I always say if I had a crystal ball, I'd play the lottery.
This guy told me in advance of the show, man, I got something to talk about. I'm going to make a speech about work from home.
People,
I'm doing all the work.
I pulled articles,
I'm saying
and here
everything.
they are. It's saying that people are not going to want to come back home. They're not going to want to come. They're not going to come back to work. They don't want to leave their homes.
Right.
So they're going to quit.
Yeah.
Or they're going to succumb to the office.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, for recruiting, it's going to create a hiring blitz, because these HR people are not going to be able to convince people that are sitting in their houses to come back into an office scenario.
But hold on. If all of the automotive companies want people to come back, where are they going to go to if they leave their own job? Where are you going to recruit them to? Are there certain advanced thinking HR departments or hiring managers who say, yeah, I'm going to cash in on this, and this is the way I can get people who might never have come to work for me before? Are there the dinosaurs and the future thinking people? Is there a split in the industry that's going to make it a gravy train for you?
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt about it.
Why? If it's going to be so easy to attract people by saying, look, you can work from home at our company, what are they going to need you for as the middleman? People will just apply online.
No, because a year ago, we were making very, very focused phone calls, like some of the other people that should be on here right now. They probably make very, very focused calls, and they guerrilla war tactics of calling a particular person that they find and recruiting them to go to another job. Not in my office. We're going to have to make 6,000 phone calls to find the few people that are going to say, yeah, I want to make more money and go back, because that's what's going to be attractive. Is that they're going to be.
So you're not making money from people who want to move to a company that allows work from home. You're going to make money by finding those needles in the haystack that are willing to come into the office. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and get a lot more fringe benefits and make more money, a lot more money. There's going to be a salary bump that's coming up here, and everybody's going to want
people in the office, to keep the suckers
exactly
coming in. Yeah,
because at least in my industry, and this is where I've gotten into the online debates on Facebook and such, in my industry, you can't design a car part by having everybody off in satellite locations. Those people have to be interactive. There has to be a group think that's going on to help form those parts. Every single part of your car, that's tens of thousands of components that have to be individually designed. Those all can't be designed for people sitting in there.
You seem to be contradicting yourself. You said that there's going to be a lot of engineers who want to continue working from home. They somehow managed it for the last year and a half. Okay.
And I would argue that that they limped along, okay, doing the bare minimum, and they were protected by their middle manager who didn't want to lose them. Okay, so now you got your middle managers that's sitting off at home.
You're all over the place.
And here's my argument about this. This is my whole argument about work from home. Okay, Inc. magazine. Okay, Forbes. Okay, here's my argument. It's one thing for IT people. Okay, I firmly believe that you can have the IT people that are off satellite, work on satellite locations and such. But when you have other types of traditional office environment jobs that are now splintered off, how is the manager going to compare the worker's output one to the other? The manager's going to see the output coming in. This one's coming in from this city. This one's coming in from this city.
Okay, so I'm hearing. Wait a second.
This is the crescendo. The employees have no idea what their coworkers are doing. They don't know how good their work is relative to the guy that's 25 miles away in his house. And I'm telling you, in an automotive R&D environment, whether these are purchasing agents buying stuff, or whether they're testing engineers or whatever, those employees, those individual employees they're not going to have any ability. And so if they're losing their work ethic over time, okay, they're going to be less desirable as the management team's looking at them.
Well, we're going to move on from this. Well, what I'm hearing from you, Ivan, I'll bring you in a second. What I'm hearing is that work from home doesn't work in the automotive design industry business, and that these people are not good. No one's going to hire them at home. Everybody's going to demand that they come in, because you're saying it absolutely doesn't work. So I don't see the revelation that you promised me. Ivan, though, what about what he said? Yeah, it's okay for IT people. Do you agree? Ivan's an engineer, by the way, an IT engineer. What got any comments on him better than the ones I've made? Just say no if you got nothing, okay? We're already into the show, and so I don't know if we've got any good content.
In IT, it's basically you collaborate over code, and like there's a certain group of tools that now are in like their infancy, and they are kind of helping that people are, for example, like we are now, like I can say something and immediately it's caught up by everyone. So like even there, kind of like there is some minus from this remote setup, definitely. But like how is this automotive stuff working exactly? Do you like sit in like a CAD software, or is it all software, or like what is the
I'm tired
element
of this. Okay, there's tons of other things to talk
that
about.
makes it
Yeah,
it
okay. I'm
non-remote
moving
friendly,
on.
Stephen? I'm
Okay.
asking Stephen a very important question.
No,
So like
no,
what is the
no.
element making it
Yeah,
non-remote
that's for
friendly?
an engineer. Okay, I know the show. Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, if something really good comes up, okay, yeah, okay. Here's something. Okay, 3 years ago, Stephen Nehez, you posted that you were converting your office to 100% texting candidates. So you were offering all your phone network for free to whoever wanted it, right? How has that worked out?
We find that especially now, it's been proven last year, people reply to text because they're sitting there staring at these things while they're sitting at home with their doggy, their COVID doggy. They're sitting there looking for that. So they actually respond to this. But if an incoming call comes in, they don't answer it. Yeah, prove me wrong. Okay. People don't answer these things now.
Uh-huh.
They will answer a text. So what we do is we come up with like clever ways and clever messages
Like what?
that get
Hold
them
on,
to answer.
but wait a second. So my complaint about using mobile phones for recruiting is that the quality is not always good. The sound sometimes it's not anywhere near as good as a landline. Okay, and so
Oh,
you're saying it doesn't make any difference because you don't have to talk to anybody on the phone
no,
anyway. Is that right?
that leads to a phone call. We have to get them to no, it's just that those are the breadcrumbs we drop to lead them to
Okay, give us an
we always have a
example.
phone call.
Give us an example of what goes into a text, because there were people who said you must be joking at the time, okay? And yet you say
Oh
it has
no.
worked out. So what
Oh,
is the text going to say to
you
someone?
you get one sentence, and sometimes it's a partial sentence, but
What does it say?
you basically construct. You got to construct something so that they can read the majority of what's happening. Right there. So we don't do the traditional identify yourself on the front end because that's gonna cause their brain to immediately zip it away or whatever. So we typically will throw the words resume. I mean, in other countries they might use CV, which is even better because it's texting. But we basically say, hey, I've got a copy of your resume. This is Steve. I'm wondering if it's the latest version, and then prompt them to respond back.
Okay, so these are people you've already had some kind of contact with. You've harvested their resume.
Yeah,
It's
we've
not.
been doing that since 2009.
Okay, but it's not initial contact. Okay, you're never sending a text to someone you don't know already or
No, we
have
don't do
some.
that.
How do you? So that's kind of different. But otherwise, when you contact people about a job, you never phone them, you don't email them, you only text them. Is that what you're telling us? You've moved 100% to first contact via text for people that you've already got a resume for. Yeah.
The answer is not really, because there's certain jobs where there's certain positions that we fill where people are more susceptible to respond by email or by a phone call.
You said at the time that you never
dead.
phone HR either because they don't answer. Okay, you email HR.
No.
Is that true?
Yeah, pretty much. We don't text HR. We
You
use
said
the professional
you email
route.
HR. Okay,
Yep.
so phones on the initial calls to HR or to candidates. What percentage of the time is that? Because now I'm getting a bit confused. Is it 10%?
It's 100.
No, you said texting and email is what you use. You don't make phone calls anymore. Now you're saying you make some phone calls. What percentage of the first contacts are phone calls?
Our phone, barely any.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what about, so how do you bring in the new candidates that have not already sent their resume in at some time in the past?
I think it was a natural transition of our office. We've got 250,000 contacts in our database now. It's a
Where?
very,
From
very
ads?
robust database.
From ads? So you're not generating any new names?
A few here and there, referrals mostly. Referrals. And
Okay, that's why
another
because you
that's
hate
that's
LinkedIn.
another text message.
What you text somebody for a referral? Is that what you do?
Yeah, we text Bob. Bob says, "Hey, I know somebody," and I say, "Hey, can you send me their cell
No,
phone?" Which
You
Bob
mean
does.
you'll text somebody? I've got your resume. I need an update. This is Steve. Okay, and Bob will automatically on his own without being prompted say, you know what? I got a referral for you. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there may have to be a reply. I mean, there may be one iteration there where we'd say, "Hey, Bob, we got a new engineering position up in Troy or
Okay.
whatever,"
Yeah.
and
Okay.
and
So
then Bob says, "Oh, I know somebody looking."
you're getting people to send you referrals without any effort at all. You're not twisting their arms or even asking them or me.
Dude, my 75-year-old mother prefers to text. She
That's
doesn't
not
want,
what I'm
she
saying.
doesn't
Now I'm
answer the
shifting.
phone. I mean,
Now I'm shifting. You get referrals. I find referrals are the hardest thing in the world to get often. Okay. Sometimes a search will work with referrals. Usually it doesn't. You're saying they're just throwing them at you. Is that what you're saying?
They do, yeah, for sure.
Ivan, isn't that unusual? I mean,
We
is that
ask.
unusual for you? Do people toss you referrals without any problem?
Come on, man. You use sympathy and everything. Yeah, guilt. Yeah, it's Corona. Hey, you know somebody out there that's looking right now, and
Maybe that
and
was it, the
boom,
coronavirus. Okay, but the thing is, you're not even. How much sympathy can you put into a text?
a lot. These people. I mean, these people text back and forth.
Okay.
I
But
mean,
also
his
the
country's
wording
the one that
is
started all the texting, isn't it? You're a Scandinavian country or whatever, right?
Switzerland's not in Scandinavia. Okay,
Where is he?
it's in the
Switzerland.
center of Europe, in the mountains there,
Okay,
But
the
like,
he's in the
Alps.
if you
mountains.
say,
I remember
if you
seeing a 60 Minutes like 15 years ago that this thing called texting was gonna. It was started where he's from, and now that's the only way people communicate. I
Okay.
have to text my dog.
and that is only SMS, or is it like iMessage, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger? What do you exactly mean by texting? Is it only SMS, or is this like Messenger, WhatsApp, iMessage?
What's the tool you use for texting, Steve?
Boy, now I'm old. We have incorporated in our phone system. So we have now we have professional grade individual phone numbers in the office that have texting ability and also like a FaceTime ability. Okay, we don't like to use that because I don't want people that causes too many problems. We stick with phone calls and texting, but we basically are texting their cell phone. So SMS, I guess. We don't go into Messenger or apps or anything like that.
Okay, but that's not the question I asked Ivan. He says people throw referrals at him. I never hear that. Do they just toss them at you, or do you have to beg and twist arms to get a referral?
It is more easier to get a referral, I believe, if you have a phone call and give the context of the situation. Rich Rosen has a famous quote where it's like, whom would you hire if you would be in the position? And such a question, how can you ask it authentically in a text?
Okay, so you're answering a different question. You guys are resisting me, okay? I asked, and I'm not going to ask again, but just to clarify, I wasn't asking about can you use text to get referrals? I was saying, do people offer them so freely, like Stephen Nehez is telling us? Let's move on. Stephen Nehez, you asked a serious question at the time about whether the thumbs up emoji is it legitimate to use that in a text? That was a big issue for you.
I freaking hate that emoji. No.
What? You don't use it.
Thumbs up's the worst. It's the laziest, worst thing in the world for communication. It's a non-response. Okay.
I noticed today by Stephen Nehes and I share similar thumbs. They bend back when you straighten them up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the kind of shit we talk
Let's see your thumb, Ivan. Ivan, let's see your thumb.
But you just
Oh
use a
yeah, his
normal.
is the
Yeah, he's
same.
got it too.
I
And
told him.
my family comes from Europe. Maybe it's that, and
I
all
think
of
there's a few
Canada came
people.
from Europe.
Yeah, I think there's a few people in this country whose families come from Europe. Okay. Okay. So what about emojis in general? You don't like them? No hearts or anything like that. I mean, if someone gives you a
Yeah,
referral,
we're not
do you
doing
send
that.
back a kiss emoji or anything like that? I
No,
would.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
We don't. No, we don't. We refrain from. Though it does have the capability, and there's a couple that we send inter office to each other
Okay,
just
that's
to
I'm not concerned.
kid around.
But
But
here's
that's
what a guy said to you 3 years ago, I think, when you did all this stuff. He said, if your recruiters think that the best way to manage candidates is by text message, fire all of your recruiters and hire some adults who understand that phone and email are
we do.
crucial tools for candidate outreach. If anything, I would ban the use of texting candidates, and anyone using it without a candidate's express permission would be there would be grounds for immediate termination. Okay, so not everybody agrees with you.
No.
Back then, maybe it's changed though.
It
Okay,
has changed. I'm going to tell you, the whole world, it's all changed, especially with the plague. Okay, now everybody, you have to send them messages this way.
let me go to my next question. Pauline Rogers said to you, I still subscribe to that old-fashioned idea.
Wait a minute, I have to ask Ivan a question. Do you have the ability to text people through your ATS?
Playing?
ATS?
Playing?
So I literally, no joke, made a ticket in our system, make two-way SMS system. That's the next feature that is bigger that we're gonna develop. I had this idea before, but now I heard it from you, and I heard it from another person, and I heard it so many times that
I'm shocked you don't have it in already. I mean, really, that's a big surprise to me. Stephen, wake up. Pauline
No,
said
I'm
to you,
just showing you.
Yeah.
So the text messages, this is the app for our phone system, and the text messages also show. I don't like texting through my. I'm not efficient at all. I'm an old guy. Thumbs don't work. Whatever. But we text, and it's also saved. All of these text exchanges are automatically saved into our ATS as well, which is pretty neat. So we
Okay.
know if we've texted them before. I've succumbed, man. It used to be smile and dial. Now it's smile and text, and really it's just a copy and paste.
Okay. She said to you, I subscribe to the old-fashioned idea of building relationships with clients. And you said, I don't know if you're being facetious. You said, I send Starbucks cards, sometimes tropic smoothie if they seem sporty. Okay, now I don't know what a tropic smoothie is, but I assume maybe it's a
Smoothie Cafe.
Oh, okay. So, what about you don't have to build relationships with these. You work through HR, not directly with the hiring manager, and you don't care about building relationships with them, right?
We not that way. I know that there are industries and genres of recruiting where you have to build a rapport or a relationship, like a personal relationship with the candidate. We just don't do that. We're very transactional, almost like staffing, but we're here to help.
Okay.
We offer
But
ourselves.
transactional also means one-off. You're not you're dealing with the same clients again and again and again, right?
Many times. Well, I mean, I just added it up. We have like something like, so we established ourselves January 1, 2009. And we have something like 250 contracts. In other words, fee agreements between companies. But I could probably start fires with many of those because it's just things have morphed into a whole new era, I guess.
I have Ivan back because I think I can't go into it now, but I think he writes a lot about building relationships, and for him, it's not about asking how are your kids and happy birthday or anything like that. It's sort of providing sort of a rich service. Am I right about that, Ivan? You're not a birthday guy or how are your children? You don't discuss that.
I can't compete with the like Anglo-Saxon, very friendly and polite culture. So I have to like distinguish myself. And like, so I stick with like, I mean, if you know you know automotive, so you can always stick with the actual, like how to make the work life better. And this can be also enough.
Okay. Okay.
I think the approach, and there's similarities. He knows the approach. So I, I don't, I prefer not to work in IT. I never would. There's too much competition for one thing. But IT are a different breed, okay, versus engineers and versus program managers or project managers. IT are don't want to be bothered. What do you want? Huff and puff. And get to the point. You're wasting my time. That's not our industry. Our industry that.
Sounds like it is.
Okay, you want something?
You don't even
okay.
phone them. You're sending them
All right.
one sentence messages.
I mean,
that
not
can't
even
be.
live long enough to be on your next podcast. But here's the thing. For all you recruiters, what does Don Cherry say? All you youngsters, growing up to be recruiters
Kids.
or whatever.
Kids, yeah.
Kids, recruiting is all about curiosity, tweaking curiosity. I think I might have brought this up in a previous show. That's what drives my office, is tweaking curiosity. If I've got something in here and I'm like, actually I do have something. Now what's in there? What do you think it is?
Yeah.
Where am I? Am I in the lunchroom? Am I in the spare room? What is this? Well, guess what? It's freaking salt. Okay, I just showed you, but maybe I'm not going to show you what it is. Okay, and that's what gets people to refer people. That's what drives the passion in this office, is that we tweak their curiosity and we tell them this might not be for you. Maybe you wanted pepper, not salt. Okay, but today we're offering salt.
You know what? That works on those tweets that say, you want to see what your TV, those hot TV stars from the 1970s look like today? Okay, I will click through on some of those, but I never get to the end because they show the boring ones first. Okay, so, but if it's somebody getting pitched by a recruiter for a job, I don't think it's as interesting as seeing the girls from Baywatch, what they look like today. Okay, that's my opinion.
How does Ivan tweak the curiosity of an
We're moving on.
guy?
Okay, we're moving on.
I want to hear this. Ivan knows, after I said that, he knows he's got to come up with some curiosity. What is it? Is it the company? Is it it can't be the position, because these are IT. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to be the chef or the cook at McDonald's going over to be the cook at Burger King. IT to IT. So what is the pitch?
I ask what sucks currently about their position, and then I try to tailor the answer, what is good about the next one, that it fits, right?
Yeah, that's not, what he's talking about when you engage somebody, okay, with curiosity. I don't know how you do that unless you're sending them an email that says only, I'm a recruiter, I've got a position that might be of interest to you. Why don't we have a chat? Okay, everybody says that's not going to get any response. You have to tell them something, like you're saying, that might pique their interest. I was looking at your LinkedIn, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this. All those things are relevant for the position I'm working on. Then they might be engaged because it appeals to something that they're obviously interested in. Okay, but just saying what's in my hand, I mean, they say, I don't care. Okay, I don't care.
No, they do. I mean, at least you can surface, maybe not everyone, but at least we do a lot of volume.
I'm going to use your hand movements. Okay, your industry, the engineers, they seem to, first of all, you're not talking to us at all about engaging any new people. It's some people somehow you've got the resumes already. Maybe you've had contact with them before and they remember you. Okay, but the thing is, they seem to be different than the average potential candidate. They're more responsive. That's what I'm hearing from you. Okay, they'll give you referrals if you ask for them. They'll respond to text messages as sort of the initial pitch on a job. Let me move on. You were famous. This is what you're famous for. And now I've got editing software. If I ever learn to use it properly, I'll be able to cut this part out of the show. Okay. This is what Jerry posted a few years ago. He said, a recent guest on the Recruiting Animal Show, he didn't mention that it was you, but it was, has an 85% offer acceptance rate. This is done with a 5-minute phone screen. He said under 5, and you told us 4 minutes. Your interviews were only 4 minutes long. That's the thing I remember about you the most. And Jerry said, the rest is left for the candidate and client to sort out themselves. No deep dive interview follow-up, no closing, no, no discussion about counteroffers. He says, are the rest of us just wasting our time and effort? Do we have to do all those things? Okay. Are you still doing the 4-minute interview? Or maybe it's like the 2-second text now. I mean, what's the story with your process? Is it the same as it was back then? So you just said, yeah, if somebody responds to the text with their resume, you'll phone them up, right?
Yeah, we got to get them on the phone.
And it's still 4 or 5 minutes on the phone?
Max.
What do you talk about? Okay, go ahead.
I think again, I'm going to throw in for the plague. I'm going to throw in, and I think along the lines of what Ivan said, we use the plague as an, you know, hey, how's your company faring? And it gives us intel about what's going on with their company as well. We do listen to that intel because that's, you know, obviously a potential client. It could be potential client or not. So yeah, I would say that, you know, right or wrong, successful or semi-successful, however you want to rate our office, we still make our opening pitch, and it's probably inside of 4 minutes.
Okay, not your pitch, the interview, the phone screen, going through the person's resume with them.
Oh yeah. 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah, that's
okay. And then you shove it off straight directly to the client because you said
and we now have there's now also with Corona, we've convinced 100% of our clients to conduct a post-screening first interview by phone every time now. Every one of our first interviews is by phone and typically with the hiring manager, not with HR. Well,
no Zoom, no video platforms.
We really discourage it. I mean,
Why?
I don't.
Why?
I just don't. I don't want. I don't want the optics of a candidate, and perhaps they're eye rolling, or they're losing interest, or they're looking at their phone while they're. I mean, if I did that right now, if I'm like, oh man, what's on Facebook? You know, I don't want any of that optics. I got my plant that survives Corona. It's back here. You know, but I don't want that as optics. We get them on the phone, and it also allows the candidate. Oh, by the way, this is a big part. That way, the candidate they can just go out to their car if they're and make that and have that phone call or whatever. They don't have to be in a position where they're in front of a computer.
Okay, and you don't have to worry about people seeing their dog on their lap or something like that.
We go through that stuff and we tell them crying babies and dogs and music and noise. You got to get rid of that. We do prep for that. We do a micro prep. People only retain so much advice. Okay, so but that's important. Let me
ask you a question. Are these resumes good enough that you don't have to have notes? Because like Ivan, for instance, where he builds his relationship, instead of asking about your kids or whether you liked the hockey game the night before, he feels his job is to provide in-depth, rich notes about a candidate in addition to the resume. Am I right about that, Ivan?
Yeah, so we always make a blurb, which is sometimes half a page, like about like what the person wants to do in the next job, because this is not obvious from the resume, correct? Stuff like that.
What do you think about his 4-minute or 5-minute interview? You send any notes along like he does in addition to the resume, Steve? No.
We actually present the candidate either what their current base income is, or their target income. Typically one or the other. So it would be Bob Smith, $100,000. That's it. That's our presentation of the
And
candidate.
you never get any feedback. Did you speak to this guy? Did you talk to him or her? You know, I mean, like, I don't know. I would like to be able to do that, but I've wasted so much time on the phone with people who, you know, are just trying to see exactly what they've got.
I don't know if war stories are
Let's see,
allowed.
Ivan, could you do that 5-minute interviews? Could you look at the resume in a 5-minute interview? Could you get away with that?
Sometimes I send the questions that I ask in the phone in a written thing, and then the candidate replies, and then based on that, I clarify the like a little bit illogical stuff, and sometimes it takes 5 minutes. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, and they're willing to answer your emailed questions on
because
a
these are
regular
programmers. They like some of them actually that's 100% better for them. Like and for me it's asynchronous, so perfect.
Why don't you do something like that? Go ahead.
If you're talking July 7, 2021, I can tell you right now that the executives that I'm talking with in HR are giving me pretty much the answers to the final exam, and that is in the U.S. The go-to place right now is Indeed and LinkedIn for collecting candidates for a company to try to get candidates themselves. And they're telling me easily 95% of the applicants are nonsense. So a lot of the hiring managers can't waste their time on that, and the HR people don't have the time to do it. So that's why by default, the clients that we're getting right now simply don't have the resources to fish through 95% or 100% of applicants coming through.
Did I ask that question? I asked a different question, but do they have time to read your notes? Like, he supplies notes, you don't supply any notes, and they're happy with that. They like the resumes are good enough.
Yeah, I mean, we're making placements. I mean, and yeah. So I mean, could we make more by again, Ivan, a network administrator, there's so many variations of network administrator that he's got to clarify what their specialty is. In our case, I guess, maybe because of where I'm located, the industry, whatever, the resume dictates the first half of the page of any resume dictates whether the person is appropriate. And your
people, your candidates supply a resume that's good enough to just send it out, that you don't have to rewrite it after talking to them on the phone for an hour.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's 1 out of 1,000 that we will tell a candidate, you need to change something on it.
But don't you change something on the phone? Even Rich Rosen says, oh, like then I correct stuff and da da da. I mean, don't you need to re-edit like Word files and PDFs, or nothing at all?
No.
Okay.
This is what he's famous for, okay? He used to be more bold and direct in the way he said it, describing his process.
I'm getting old.
A little different. Okay, but here's something else. You said that you started, I guess maybe this was before you went into text, you started personalizing your emails more than you did in the past. So that's irrelevant now that you've moved to text. Is that right?
That's correct.
So do you use the person's name? Do you waste text space on the person's name? If it's Bill, do you say, hi, Bill? Or I can't remember what you told us before. Or is that just a waste of space?
We don't personalize it.
Okay.
So in our ATS, we have in our ATS, we have a button that we press and it pops up the texting field, and we just copy and paste and send. That's it.
Okay. And do you mass text?
No, not at all. No.
So you don't get a list. You don't say, do a search in your ATS for a certain kind of engineer, get a list, and then write a standard text and send it out to 100 people. You don't do that.
We don't do a mass text. We do mass emailings that Mike A. Stringer has got upset about. We still do that. But we don't, and we do that under the auspice that it's a job alert. Okay, this is what I tried to explain 6 years ago when he jumped on my case. If I round up a group of network administrators, let's say I do get a position where it's a network administrator and they got to do a certain thing, and I will create a very tight roll-up list of candidates to email that, and I'll tell them in the body of the email and the subject line that it's a network administrator position. It's a new position. It's open now. If you're curious about it, email us back.
And how do you decide whether you're doing an email blast or a text?
Every single day, email blasts have to go out. We got to send out at least 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah, but what's up? Where does the texting come in? I'm so confused. I think I'm doing a bad job. I don't.
The computer robot does the email blasts. That follows federal guidelines, by the way. I just have to throw that in there, both Canadian and American. But texting is a different. See, I started getting just like you. Maybe not. Both you guys are in different countries. In the U.S., we started getting spam texting about 2 years ago, and that is clearly violating. Those text messages are violating federal law here. They are. It's clear as a bell. In order in the United States, you need to have written consent that you can text somebody. And what I do is I utilize the fact that I got their resume, and that's my proof that it's written consent, that I can send them a single text message. Does that make sense?
Okay, so that's why when we talked half an hour ago about initial texting, it's illegal to send, if you get somebody's phone number or email address, it's illegal to contact them through a text without their permission or some hint that they've
That's
given
right.
you.
That's why at the end of those type of text messages, they're supposed to have, type stop to end this or whatever. That allows them to meet that. But it was one thing when I was getting the local pharmacy sending that, but now I've got political parties sending this stuff out. I got a text the other day whether or not I got the vaccine. That was the state of Michigan. I didn't give them permission to text me about that. But whatever. They follow their rules. I follow mine. We have human beings that look at a resume, click the button, and then copy and paste it.
Yeah, but I'm still not clear about when you decide you're going to text somebody and when you're going to send the email.
He's doing probably both. He's the same time.
We're doing all of the above, but we only call. We only take the time to call when we've had some type of exchange, first level exchange. Okay. When it goes to the second level, then I'll call.
Ivan, he said, I said, you said you're moving 100% to text. He said, yes, that's true.
We did. I mean,
you're emailing masses, hundreds of people every day. Okay.
I mean, but that's not taking any effort though, Animal, because remember, I started doing this 12, 14 years ago. I started creating a system that's a one bus. Look, I had the president of a company send me a signed fee agreement on Friday, and Monday was a holiday here. We celebrated our independence, okay? And then Tuesday, the guy got 3 candidates in his inbox. Did I work all weekend? No, man, I went out and did my stuff on the way. How did I do that? I had all of that lined up, ready to go.
What?
Oh, texting and email.
What do you mean you had it lined up, ready to go? What does that mean?
We did our campaign. We call that way. That's how whenever we're working on a search, we call it a campaign. Incorporated in that campaign is an email blast that probably will go out. We have and then we have the texting. We have the individual, the different team members or recruiters in the office. They'll be texting people. Boom, 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 one at a time. We're texting 850 software engineers today, one by one. Send.
Okay, I'm trying to understand. Ivan, do you have any questions? No, okay.
Which software
Ivan's
do you use?
developing a
What's
database,
the
right?
ATS that you use?
Our ATS is PCR.
Used to be a
PC
sponsor of this
PC
show.
Recruiter?
PC
PC
Recruiter.
Recruiter, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have again. So if I can explain. So back in the old days, Ivan, I'm not sure like where you live. I'm sure it's a lot of the similar platforms. But back in the old days in the U.S., Career Builder and Monster and Hot Jobs. Okay. What would happen is I used to be in the automotive industry, and I used to get scared that there might be a problem with my job. And what would happen is I would come home, I would talk to my family, and my family would say, well, you need to maybe look for another job. Well, when the internet came around, people used to, my family members would say, well, post your resume on Monster, Career Builder, Hot Jobs, okay? Well, what happened was up till about 2012, okay, those platforms used to keep and store those old resumes, 5, 6, 7, up to 9, 10 years old. What I did is I went in there, I harvested those. Now in 2020, 21, you can't go back 3 years or more.
Okay, that was Glenn Cathy's consistent advice as well. He always said, get people who put their resumes in 5 years ago because they're ready to move now. Okay,
exactly.
That was.
Are they going to want to change their cell phone number or the email address? Yeah, those change, but the cell phone number, is anybody going to want to change their cell phone number? You get their cell phone number, you got basically like their social security number. I mean, social security number is basically your citizen's ID number.
We know what it is. We know what it is.
So I always, you know what? I had this great idea about 10 years ago that was I always thought that the U.S. government should just let you use your social security number for your main phone number. Why not? That way nobody else would take it. I mean, so I don't know. But anyway, I captured 250,000 of these. And
but how? There's this belongs to those sites, Indeed, and so on. So how do you harvest all of those? I don't understand.
In the old days, we did. Now, we don't anymore.
Okay, there's people who applied to your jobs like 5 years ago. You posted something on Indeed, and
no, there's a database of resumes. The job boards have huge databases of resumes.
Used to. Now all that metadata is all Monster and all those guys have shoved it off into the past. They won't let you go back to 2006. Now, back in 2006 and 7 and 8, most likely the people that posted their resumes, I don't have a resume here, most likely their cell phone number is exact same number now. And by the way, if somebody does change their cell phone number 3, 4, 5 times, is that not sending up a little bit of a red flag about that person? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Where are we?
Good point.
We've got some time left. Okay. You don't like to see hobbies on resumes. Some people love it. Some people say it gives them insight, but you don't really want that deep insight into people anyway, it seems. Hobbies. You said it. Okay, I can point it out to you where that's the word you don't want to see on a resume. Hobbies.
Since I said that, I figured it out. And the thing is that the hiring manager, or if you're in a worst case, you've got somebody from HR screening your resumes and they're not going straight to the hiring manager, that's even worse. Okay. The last thing I want is that person making an opinion on the hobby or the commute distance of what that person's written on their resume. It's not an enhancer in my case. I still stand behind that.
Okay, and you said, which reminds me of something, you said every once in a while you look at your news stream on LinkedIn and you saw a woman, a recruiter, who I think you said you were considering as a hire for your own company, and she was engaging in highly emotional political discussions and obviously her company, it was easy to see her company, and you and everybody commented, and you got a lot. They said, stay away from her. That is inappropriate behavior for a recruiter in public. You stand by that? Am I right? Do I have?
I mean, I'm not even part of the Twitter generation, and I know that's look at the kind of trouble that's gotten people into. So yeah, remember Clout, by the way? I
Yeah.
think you introduced me to Clout. I thought that was a pretty good idea, how to increase your internet clout or whatever, but it seemed to have died. But I stand behind that. I wouldn't hire somebody that's being flamboyant on especially LinkedIn. I've actually been posting a lot of what I think is controversial stuff on LinkedIn. It's okay. So here's my premise. The news flow in modern day news flow since the advent of the internet, has gotten to the point where the news the news people don't even check their own work. So now stuff that's not even real news is out there proliferating the whole universe, watering down the actual credibility of the real news, right? So the thing is, like in the automotive industry right now, if you were to survey, the local people in Toronto walking down the street, ask them how many battery cars are going to be taking over the highways over the next 5 or 10 years, they would probably tell you that there's going to be a lot of battery cars. But the inside skinny that I'm getting from the people in the industry right now, the fact of the matter is there's less than 1% of global production that's battery cars, less than 1%, okay? And there isn't enough runway for battery cars to proliferate into the industry to start chopping away at gasoline cars over the next 5, 10, 20 years.
That's interesting, but you were talking about
I've been posting that on LinkedIn. I've been posting, gee, where are all these battery cars?
Okay, but hold on. Are you saying, I hate the New York Times, those liberal report journalists are full of crap?
I don't put it that way. I don't put it that way. I do it in different ways, but I question. I try to ask questions. We get a lot of younger candidates that are enamored that want to get that technical candidates that became engineers that want to get into battery or autonomous vehicle technology. And believe it or not, there can be just as exciting technology in keyless entry still. Okay, or windshield wiper technology. My mom a 75-year-old mom just got a car that literally has only like 6 buttons on it. The rest of it's touch screen. Okay, and there's exciting technology, but the car doesn't drive itself, and it's not a battery car. Okay, so there's a lot of exciting technology. So I want to add that to the LinkedIn feed of the automotive.
I see that's a whole different issue. What you're doing there is enhancing your status as a recruiter because you're demonstrating your market knowledge. But not only that, I think this reflects your ability to assess what's going on because you're an automotive engineer yourself, just like Ivan is an IT person. So he can demonstrate, he can use social media to demonstrate his professional knowledge. That's completely different from arguing about Trump.
I was actually contacted by a journalist from a periodical that has the words Wall Street in it. And I was explaining to, the same thing I'm saying to you. And I must have been so uncompelling or not in the mainstream of what they were trying to get to. Like, oh, by the way, cars are going to be flying around on batteries in the next 10 years by themselves. Okay, which they're not. Okay, you could do that with a drone. I got it. A drone is made with a battery and it could fly around on its own and, but cars are not going to be. I mean, those are called.
You know what? If this was a show about the automotive industry, Ivan, if this is boring you, don't worry. I won't get insulted if you sign off. Okay.
Okay.
But what you're talking about is something different. Okay, you're talking about what is straightforward. There's no risk. If I saw a recruiter that I wanted to hire or that I wanted to introduce as a candidate, making a discussion like that on LinkedIn, I'd see it as a great enhancement of their value. Okay. They are a good
Well, I mean, if they're
communicator
being
and blah, blah, blah.
unprofessional about
But no,
something.
if they're on there saying, you voted for Trump, you're a racist, that's something different. Okay. And that's the kind of thing I thought that you were saying this
Now,
recruiter
we
did.
both have a redheaded friend that was from Michigan that used to be on here, and she posted something about, you know, you recruiters need to stop spamming your candidates, you know, and I was going to type something on there like, what are you, look at this. See, you're bringing up the old baloney. Who spams their candidates? I don't hear this.
Again, you're not giving a good example of that social media thing. If I've seen a recruiter posting all kinds of stuff. If you
Can we agree that social media is about to have a big, humongous change again?
In what
in the next
sense?
couple of years, Facebook and Twitter are going to become passe. I mean, something. Are we not sensing it? I mean, have those not reached their?
No.
Ivan, do you use Facebook? I mean, do you?
Yeah,
I mean, personally,
he's great. He posts a lot of great stuff. He's one of the best recruiter posters, in my opinion.
No, I mean, well, I know, but I mean, between your friends and stuff, I mean, are they really using Facebook, or is it the same 17 people that are always on there? You know, I mean, has it lost its luster? Something's coming up, right? Do we know what that is?
I don't think you're right. Okay. I thought what you were referring to, Ivan, just jump in whenever you want. I thought it was like this girl, what was her name? Alexis McDermott or something like that. Teen Vogue is like the top Marxist magazine now, Teen Vogue. Okay. And she, I have to admit, she, a very presentable, beautiful young woman with some kind of mixed parentage as well, which would be a plus. And she got hired as their editor, and some other person in the company found some postings she'd made that were somewhat derogatory from 10 years ago when she was a teenager, and they fired her after like 2 weeks. And that's come up again and again. This woman who turned her back on the flag at the track meet, they also found stuff about her. So it's becoming an industry of going back to
humiliation, right?
Well, it's not that they get fired. Okay,
people out of their jobs.
Okay, so yeah, it's an issue. Okay, but I've never seen any recruiters say that it has been an issue for them with their candidates. Just once, a guy had a blog, and while during his job search, he was posting reviews of the interviews and showing how stupid the interviewers were.
Oh man, yeah.
So when he finally got an offer, a big offer, we're talking big money, just like his candidates as well. They're big money candidates. They're engineers, design engineers. And so anyway, when the company made the offer, they found this guy's blog, they pulled it back. That's the only time I ever heard of it. And I post on my Facebook group regularly, a recruiter posted this. Would that affect you? Would you, or a candidate posted this, would you still present this person? No one ever sees any problem with it. Okay.
We don't dig back in our individual. I mean, I do.
No, you don't do anything that's going to take longer than 5 minutes. Okay, I can tell.
Well, but punching them up nowadays is pretty easy.
Okay. Well, hold on. You're a
gotta
5-minute
go. Bye,
man.
guys.
Okay. See you later. Thanks, Ivan. Take care. Playing.so. Was it SO? Yeah. Okay. Let's you and me go a little longer. I don't care if you don't mind. Okay. Got a few more minutes, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said, well, what are the recruiting tools you could not live without? You don't like LinkedIn. You don't need it anymore, according to you, because you've got so many resumes.
No,
already.
actually, if I had said that in the past, we've had to change our business model as well. So we now, I mean, I guess I mentioned PCR before, but PCR has the ability to compare a resume to the profile that's on LinkedIn, which is a very, very powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a quick icebreaker. And I think would be considered a 2021 best practice, which is when we do contact a candidate, we can automatically tell them, because it only takes a matter of a moment. We can automatically tell them, hey, I'm looking at your an older copy of your resume and I'm comparing it to your LinkedIn profile. Boom. Took 2 seconds to explain that, and that candidate's clicking in right there, and you're maybe even they're making a bigger impression of what is such a simple tool is for us. Just a click and a click, and then we can see both side by side. But maybe the candidate's feeling that they're being stroked, and they're going, wow, this person took the time to look me up and blah blah blah.
So LinkedIn,
it may help with our credibility.
LinkedIn and PC Recruiter are two of your essential tools. Your texting platform is, and that's part of PC Recruiter then, right? That's all. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's number 3. And what else? Any other tools that you see are essential?
Yeah. Again, it's another shameless plug, I guess, for Ring Central. Ring Central is incorporated into PC Recruiter. So to dial someone, it's an iconic click inside of your database, and it either creates a text or it creates an automated phone call. Or I say automated by it's dialing the number for you. So yeah, those few tools.
Anything else?
My office could burn down.
Yeah.
And as long as there's an Apple store around here, I can go buy another computer or another 5 computers or whatever, and I can be back up and running in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything's cloud-based with PCR. There's nothing housed in this office.
All those hundreds of thousands of resumes you're talking about, they're on the internet.
They're cloud stored by main sequence PCR. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazingly powerful.
Okay, I'll have to tell us.
At one point, the PCR representatives expressed that we have an unusually massive size database. They actually have us on a special server because we took so much time. I would encourage anybody that's out there, especially post-COVID, when we are about to have what I think is going to be in my lifetime, the largest recruiting explosion in my lifetime of recruiting, 20 years, 2 decades. Since 9/11, I think we're going to have the largest need for third-party recruiters ever. And I think it's because of coronavirus.
Okay. Yeah. But what about something like Calendly? You don't use Calendly.
No, we don't use any other database.
No scheduler, no interview scheduler that if the person gets an email, they can click on something, see the times that you're available.
No.
Everybody loves it. You don't use it at all.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Now you also said that spelling and bad grammar are really serious offenses for you.
They are. We send the person's resume right back to them, or we let them know on LinkedIn that they do have a spelling error. And 99% of the time, I think I only had one person get angry about it. But people are like, oh wow.
Well, what if English is their second language? Is that not a problem, especially with text?
Oh, we let them know. We let them know. Hey, there's a spelling error, and we point it out to them. Hey, there's spelling, or this is grammatically incorrect. You might want to change that.
Why don't you just change it right there and then?
I don't touch anybody's resume.
Oh, okay. Okay. Do your clients pay on time? I saw you commented on.
I'm just going to call it an emphatic yes. Everybody's. We had one weird circumstance, and that's not even worth. It was an anomaly.
Okay. What about clients asking for
net 30, by the way?
Net 30 after the start date.
Yeah, and here's a trick for all you kids. If you want to tell your client you'll give them a money back, make it 30 days and then make it net 30. The same thing. So if they do send a check, just don't cash it for 30 days, okay? If they send a check early.
Okay.
But we typically will do that. We'll do a money back in 30 days, and we make it net 30, so they pay in 30 days or the next billing cycle.
So in fact, if they keep your candidate working for 25 days and then they fire her or him, they don't have to pay you. Is that right?
Oh, if they let them go inside of the first 30 days, yeah.
They don't have to pay. So they could actually, not that they would, but they could actually use that to get free labor for instead of paying a temp fee or a contractor.
Yeah, but there's too much learning curve involved in our industry, so nobody hires just to let them go after 30 days.
But you said, I think you also commented on something. People were asking for a refund as part of the guarantee, and you won't do that.
Yeah,
except for this 30 days now that you've told us about.
We broke on that since probably 5 years ago. We'll do a 30-day money back.
Well, nothing else. Like after 6 months, you won't give them half the money back or anything.
No,
like that.
we don't. I mean, I know that there are recruiters that successfully, but we haven't run it. We haven't encountered replacement to that extent. We actually did a replacement, I think, a few months ago. Was the person was gone after 9 months for some reason, and we did. I mean, we offered to the company, I guess, as a goodwill gesture, that hey, we want to keep your business. We'll go ahead and replace them, and we did the search for free.
Okay, I feel like talking a lot, but we're out of time that it's booked for. I got final question though.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, tell us what you want to give your company name and website or anything like that. That we didn't ask for that. Do you want to?
Kind of, I guess, apropos. I mean, my website's not too thrilled with it anymore, but it's www.nehez. Just type in NEHEZ recruiting. I should own the first page or two of Google at this point.
Okay, because
but yeah, I really appreciate you having.
No, wait a sec. I wanted to ask you one more question. We might get cut off. That's why I wanted to. I've never gone to the one. Okay, yeah, yeah. There's lots of them actually. I still have lots more, but this is what if you're recruiting, and you keep hearing from people in the field that team that you're recruiting for has a lousy manager, and they have friends in there, or they've heard that people want to leave. Okay, will you go back to your client and say, I'm hearing a lot of bad things about your department from people in the market? Will you do that?
We be quite frank with you, we haven't encountered that situation.
Okay, maybe you don't talk to your candidates enough to get that information.
We do. Listen, that's recruiting 101 is finding a candidate's motivator. Okay, and sometimes they don't know what it is. You have to help them with that. But it's challenge, location, advancement, money, security. Those are the 5.
Challenge, location, advancement, money, and security. Okay.
Yeah, one or more of those, as a combination of those. Yep.
Okay. Next time you come back, so I got to end it now. Next time you'll come back again, okay? If you like.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's fun.
Let's wave to everybody.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me.
I thought I was unique.